morning. We'll give you an in-depth glimpse at the dangerous journey immigrants face. Also, Governor Ducey orders Arizona National Guard soldiers to be armed while on duty. We spoke to officials and have the details on how this may affect our community. Plus, tragedy strikes Louisiana. Several dead after a theater shooting. We'll tell you how many are also injured and what authorities are doing now. 13 on your side, live at 10 starts right now.
Live from across the desert Southwest with your latest local coverage. This is 13 on your side, live at 10.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Nylander. We begin tonight with tragic news out of Louisiana. Police say 3 people, including the gunman, are dead after a shooting tonight at a movie theater in Louisiana. Officials say the attacker died of self-inflicted gunshot wounds. At least 7 others were hurt. The shooting happened inside the Grand Theater 16 movie theater in Lafayette. Police got the first call around 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Governor Bobby Jindal tweeted that he was on his way to Lafayette immediately and requested prayers for the victims and their families. Lafayette is about 60 miles west of Baton Rouge. And that shooting comes exactly 1 week after a shooting at a National Guard recruiting center in Tennessee. You may soon see National Guard soldiers armed at facilities across Arizona after an executive order was given by Governor Doug Ducey. I spoke to Arizona National Guard officials about the new policies that will be put in place. Here's what I found out. The Arizona National Guard will now be armed after an executive order was signed by Governor Doug Ducey on Wednesday.
While we were here at home in Arizona, the governor is our commander-in-chief. So his executive order is just that. It is an order, and we will execute that order.
The Arizona National Guard tells me that the new executive order's purpose is to protect their recruits across Arizona, including the facility behind me in Yuma, from potential terrorist attacks. The order comes just a week after 4 Marines and a Navy sailor were killed in Chattanooga, Tennessee by a lone gunman.
It is our intent and the Adjutant General's intent to ensure that that does not happen here in Arizona.
The order allows properly trained National Guard personnel to carry a military-issued handgun at military installations.
Our initial intent designate approximately 200 soldiers that will be provided additional training on a military-issued handgun.
The National Guard says policies will be developed to allow soldiers to carry their personal sidearms while on active duty. This is not the first time in Arizona an order like this was given.
Right after 9/11, the Arizona National Guard was asked to provide additional security at the airports across the state. During that time, they were authorized to carry weapons.
Across the country, many citizens licensed to carry weapons have stood outside National Guard recruiting centers to protect the soldiers. The Arizona National Guard says this has been seen across Arizona as well.
The executive order allows us to do that for ourselves.
Reporting in Yuma, I'm Nylander. The Arizona National Guard says there is no time limit on that executive order, so they will treat it as if it will be permanent. And Mexico's drug gangs have taken over the human trafficking business along the border. A United Nations report finds cartels make upwards of $6 billion getting people into the United States. As America's borders become more fortified and more difficult to cross, more migrants are forced to turn to the cartels to get them in illegally into the country. 13 on your side anchors Sunny Lundeberg has more on a migrant's dangerous and often deadly journey north.
This is the city of Altar, Mexico, located about 100 miles south of Nogales, Arizona. This city is a hub for immigration. Altar survives on the human smuggling trade, taking a piece of the more than $6 billion drug cartels make getting people across the border. It's where most people meet their coyotes before making the illegal journey into the United States.
People talk a lot about the cartelization of the border. Cartels are big business. They weren't interested in that business before. They got interested in it.
Drug cartels charge upwards of $5,000 to get a migrant across the border.
We know from our own experiences in the desert that many people are forced to carry drugs because they can't afford the outrageous fees that the cartels now are charging.
The cartel's involvement in illegal immigration makes the journey even more dangerous. In the past 4 years, more than 2 million people have been caught crossing the border illegally. Daniel Ruiz is one of those crossers. He believes things need to change along our nation's borders.
We are people that feel sadness. We have families that depend on us, and they treat us like criminals. I don't wish this fear on anyone.
According
to Border Patrol statistics, more than 4,700 people have died crossing from Mexico into Arizona using trails like these in the last 10 years. However, human rights groups say that number is actually probably a lot higher. They say most of the people that go missing are never actually found.
A lot of people don't know how many people have died. We now have like 3,000 documented, but you know, we times that times 10.
Once a person is across the border, they are often stranded and left in the 100-degree heat in a foreign country. That's why one human rights group patrols the areas north of the border looking for anyone in need of help.
Group No Mas Muertes hikes trails like these multiple times a week, and they set up food and water for people crossing with the simple goal in mind of no more deaths.
We absolutely know that the water out there has saved lives. We've heard that from people. We provide them an opportunity to live.
The group also sets up camps where migrants can shower, eat, rest, and receive medical care.
Almost everybody wants a change of clothing because they've been walking in the desert between 3 days and 15 days, sometimes even more. And they come to camp and not knowing that we were here, and it just kind of seems like this miracle.
Thousands of migrants went missing or were killed in Mexico last year, and more than 20,000 were kidnapped. The city of Altar keeps track of all the remains found, but most never become more than just a statistic.
I think the walls are an abomination. In fact, I think they're an instrument of torture. Most walls that have ever been built have been torn down. I mean, they do not solve problems.
For 13 on Your Side, I'm Cindy Lundeberg.
Even though migration north has slowed, the number of deaths is remaining about the same. We talked to Border Patrol, who said they are working with the Mexican consulate to warn people about the danger crossing in this heat possesses. Here's what Agent Richard Withers told 13 on Your Side.
Trying to inform the community on both sides of the border, because the larger audience that we reach, the more lives we can save. There's not a certain amount of water you can carry with your hands that'll get you through this desert. I mean, it's going to be fatal.
Border Patrol says people crossing's first instinct is to hide from Border Patrol even if they are in need of help. Withers says all agents are first responders and say they are here to help. Also, Border Patrol agents foiled an attempt to smuggle illegal immigrants through Dome Valley yesterday morning. Agents arrested the driver, a 21-year-old man who is a U.S. citizen, and 7 illegal immigrants. They were attempting to avoid the Welton Station's checkpoint on Interstate 8. The driver is being prosecuted for alien smuggling. A lawmaker from Arizona has introduced a new bill that would impose a minimum 5-year sentence for any illegal reentry offense into the United States. The proposal is named for Kate Steinle, the woman who died on a San Francisco pier after being shot by an illegal immigrant who had been deported 5 times. An Arizona family of a teen killed by an illegal immigrant in 2014 tells their story.
In February of 2014, a teenager burned to death in this car. Wilberto Llanes was 18 years old. Giovanni Ruiz is his cousin.
He's like a little brother to me, you know. We like to work on cars. We like to hang out, just be boys, you know. Do regular guy things. Man, I didn't think I was gonna get emotional, man.
He crashed with a man who police say may have been impaired. That man was Juan Miguel Hernandez Rodriguez, who was in the country illegally. In 2009, he'd been released from ICE custody.
If they would have done their job the first place, you know, there's a possibility my cousin still could have been here.
In the city of Tucson, if anybody is arrested, regardless of nationality, the department contacts federal authorities. Ruiz hopes those authorities enforce their own rules.
The reason ICE is there is for those specific criminals. You know, when you have someone here that's illegally and ICE has them and lets them go, what's the point of having ICE?
Kate's law would not change the policies of Pima County agencies. But for at least one family, the release of a different undocumented immigrant has relatives hoping for better enforcement.
Today, the U.S. House approved the legislation, which is also aimed at punishing so-called sanctuary cities like San Francisco that refuse to cooperate with federal immigration authorities. Earlier, we spoke with Republican State Representative Darren Mitchell to get his thoughts on Kate's law. He represents District 13, which includes Yuma. Here's what he told us.
I thought it was a great attempt at some common sense legislation. So I was happy to see that the House passed it today. What we need to do kind of dissect the problem from illegal immigration and legal immigration and work permits.
Now, with the United States House of Representatives voting in favor of Kate's law, this brings us to our topic of the day. Is a mandatory 5-year prison sentence for undocumented immigrants attempting to re-enter the U.S. after being deported fair? Well, Steve says, quote, already too many Mexican nationals in the prison system, end quote. Karen told us at 13 on Your Side, wonderful idea. Maybe they would learn if they had to be locked up for trying twice, end quote. You can still weigh in on the discussion of our topic of the day either on Facebook, Twitter, or our website, KSWT.com.
Live from across the desert Southwest, this is 13 on Your Side.
We've actually seen things kind of quiet down in terms of our drying. We're about as dry as we are going to get here in the desert Southwest during monsoon season. Right now, our dew points have steadied themselves in the 40s, 50s, and maybe 1 or 2 spots in the 60s. We are going to start seeing more moisture, but that's well off in the distance. Right now, we're just trying to get out of this deep drying trend that we have been in. You start to see -3 in Yuma, -8 in Blight, but look at Mexicali and the western areas. We're going to start to see these dew points rise. Now, that's again later. What's going to happen in the meantime is warmer weather. We're going to talk about that and, of course, increasing humidity in your 7-day forecast. Let's send it over to Course.
Thanks, Nick. California's Lieutenant Governor has declared Imperial County under a state of emergency following last weekend's severe weather. Saturday, parts of central and southern California saw heavy rain, high winds, and lightning strikes. Parts of the state experienced flash flooding and mudslides. Imperial County is among 6 counties eligible for federal assistance. However, city officials there say they won't be requesting any funds. The I-10 bridge collapse has a silver lining for Yuma. It's bringing more business to local restaurants and hotels. Community businesses have seen a brief but unexpected boom in the economy. The historic Coronado Motor Hotel has special signs aimed toward the steady stream of drivers passing through the city. Some visitors are using the detour as a welcome break. Officials with the Yuma Visitors Bureau is enticing people to exit the freeway by using social media.
I've seen extra traffic on the road. We've gained a couple of rooms a night, and not a lot. We have reservations to the future that are a few extra that we normally wouldn't have.
We've had folks walking in at the Visitor Center, which is right off the 4th Avenue exit, to find out what there is to do in Yuma, because I think they figure, oh, they've come far out of their way, they might as well take a little break.
Interstate 10 is set to reopen with just 1 lane in each direction tomorrow. Don't go away. A Yuma native is dead while out of state. Now a man has been arrested for his death. We'll let you know, what happened coming up after the break. Don't go away.
Live from across the desert Southwest, this is 13 on Your Side.
Welcome back. A Yuma native is dead after a fatal hit-and-run crash in Fresno, California. 83-year-old Jose Rodriguez was crossing the street in a motorized wheelchair when a truck hit him. Police have arrested a 21-year-old Edgar Rueda, but witnesses say the suspect was in a pickup truck racing alongside another car. Rodriguez was an Army veteran, father and grandfather. His family is working to bring his body back to Yuma so he can be buried next to his wife. One Calipatria State Prison inmate is injured after a fight involving 3 prisoners erupted. Officials say the incident started on a maximum security yard at 9:30 this morning. Officers had to use pepper spray and foam-tipped rubber rounds to control the violence. One of the 3 inmates was taken to the hospital. Thankfully, no staff members were hurt in the incident. The trial for a former Yuma police officer is off the docket. Officials say Ron Anton Ciancimino was facing charges of luring a minor for sexual conduct, but the most important witness in the case has allegedly disappeared. For that reason, the case is dismissed without prejudice. However, he could be recharged if circumstances surrounding the trial change. Part of Northern California is up in smoke again today as a fast-moving wildfire rages through an area north of Napa Valley. Thousands of acres have already been blackened, and high winds and dry conditions are making it a tough day for firefighters. Julie Watts has the latest from Winters, California.
This is what firefighters are up against in the hills north of Napa, California. Thousands of acres burned through the night as firefighters attacked the hilly front lines on the ground and from the air.
Super dry vegetation, 4 years of drought's not helping us any. The winds keep changing and shifting direction.
Watch as those winds spread the flames along the roadside. Everything in their path will either burn or flee.
What we're trying to do is just water and mow, and pretty much all we can do.
Vehicle accident. The spread to the vegetation.
All right, we got to go back down. The fire is believed to have started with this car accident Wednesday afternoon. The fast-moving flames have forced the evacuation of 2 communities, Quail Ridge and Golden Bear, as well as 2 campgrounds nearby. Scott Ruser didn't waste any time.
We just grabbed the things that were important to us, our dogs and the few unreplaceable items that we have, and the rest is in God's hands.
The fire is now threatening as many as 200 homes. Julie Watts for CBS News, Winters, California.
Good news for Yuma. A new report shows the county has the least amount of adult smokers in the entire state. 13 on Your Side reporter Chase Golightly joins us now live in the studio to tell us more. Chase?
Thanks, Course. Out of Arizona's 15 counties, Yuma is ranked #1 for having the least amount of smokers. Health services say it's because of their community effort to help people quit the habit.
Yuma County Public Health Services released an update yesterday about the community's health. Statistics show that only 14% of Yuma residents smoke.
It's a big accomplishment not only for our tobacco efforts that we have done within our programs, but also the services that we have put out in the community.
Health services say the tax on tobacco, Proposition 201, which bans smoking in public areas, could be why. Leadership and prevention classes were also contributed to cutting down on smoking in Yuma and have also been implemented in schools.
Our local efforts here is working within the schools, doing peer education, getting youth leadership programs at the high school level so that they can arm themselves with different prevention tools.
Health officials say playing an active role in the community has also helped citizens stop smoking.
It's a community effort. It's the partnership that we've developed within our community, proactive practices that we do within our community, and just being out there in the community educating them about not only the health counselors but how they can quit smoking.
Even with these statistics, Coronado says health services doesn't plan on slowing down anytime soon.
We'll continue working towards better results in our prevention efforts and helping people quit.
For overall health, Yuma is ranked #3 behind Santa Cruz and Maricopa counties. For 13 on Your Side, live in the studio, I'm Chase Golightly.
Thanks, Chase. The Yuma Regional Medical Center is continuing to build their new emergency department, but before it's done, they are doing several tests. We'll tell you all about them coming up right here on 13 on Your Side. Plus, our chief meteorologist, Nick Maruzak, he's going to have your full forecast for your weekend coming up.
Live from across the desert Southwest, this is 13 on Your Side.
Looking over Desert Doppler, we do have a system. Now, it's very weak right now, and it's not going to become a hurricane anytime soon. Say hello to Felicia and say goodbye to Felicia, because it is going well out to sea, and it looks like not going to have much of an impact on our weather. And certainly one thing that we have been seeing is a lot of dry air locally. Now, it's been a little bit different case when you look towards southern part of Arizona and also the western part of New Mexico. Of course, there the monsoon has really not let up. Now, for us, it's been very much a few dry days and then 1 or 2 days where we're seeing enough humidity for some showers. That's a pattern that we've seen now for about the better part of the month. Now, we do start to see a few clouds moving their way through. I don't think there'll be that much of a bother. Now, we do see the winds out of the southwest. What does that mean for us? Well, the west is our dry flow, and that's where we really start to see dew points drop. I mean, you're used to seeing dew points in the 30s and 40s. Now, since earlier today, we've seen a little bit more humid weather, specifically Mexicali. Earlier today, we had a dew point of 39. Now it's at 63, so a lot more humidity has already moved in. Now, it's still pretty dry out there, but we're going to start to see the difference tomorrow. Now we'll look at temperatures, 80s and 90s, not awful, certainly not for this time of year, 93 right now in Phoenix. Now we'll get down in 70s tonight in most spots, with the exception, of course, of Yuma at 80 degrees. And you look at Blythe, YPG, they'll be at 78. So a pretty comfortable night is once again on tap. But we'll see mostly clear skies around the area, with the exception of the most far eastern places in our viewing area, like Welton, Dayton, and Roll. Now you look for tomorrow, what can you expect? Well, sunny skies, 104 is your high temperature. And notice the pool? Yeah, it sounds like a good idea, because it's not going to be that bad out there. And 11 on a UV index, so it is going to be on the extreme end. Future scan shows, this isn't a pattern that's just going to hang out for a while. It looks like this is going to hang out for the near future. Not looking like there's many clouds in our future, but you look towards Tucson and Phoenix, they'll start to really see their monsoon ramp up. And you notice the greens making their way. No, we're not going to see the yellows or the deep greens really to get this monsoon started, at least not until later next week. Now, we do see our high pressure for Saturday starting to shift west. That's something that will help our monsoon, specifically Wednesday through Thursday, where it really pushes west. That's going to allow us to see at least a surge of moisture, enough for some clouds. This point doesn't look like rain yet on Wednesday or Thursday, but maybe for next weekend. In the meantime, though, we're going to still see the dry weather over the next 2 days, but it's going to get slightly warmer. And look at the overnight lows. We'll go from mid-70s to low 80s in the Imperial Valley, so it's not only going to get warmer during the day, but also at night. Keep it right here. We'll be right back.
Live from across the desert Southwest, this is 13 on Your Side.
Thanks for staying with us. Arizona is one of the few states nationwide that does not have a ban on cell phone use while driving, but Department of Public Safety is taking matters into their own hands. Officials tell us DPS officers are looking out for distracted drivers, especially drivers using their phones. In 2013, DPS began keeping record of car crashes related to distracted driving. Out of more than 12,000 collisions, DPS officials estimate 1,000 were caused by drivers not paying attention.
So that's a good number of collisions that could have been avoided if people just pay attention to what's happening on the road.
DPS officials say drivers can take steps to reduce distraction by putting away their phones and not playing with the radio. The Yuma Regional Medical Center is testing out mock rooms before they're built in the new emergency department. Blueprints show what is to come. 72 beds, including 4 trauma rooms, which will soon be ready for patients. Rough drafts and testing centers are in an effort to ensure everything is functional and efficient before they're up and running. The rooms will be tailored before real patients are treated in the actual rooms at the hospital.
We'll use this for patients that come in with significant heart attacks to pre-screen them, get them ready, and down to the cath lab if needed. We'll probably use it for our stroke patients that we believe are appropriate for the stroke doc so that we can screen them.
The emergency department at YRMC with additional and updated rooms are expected to open in the fall of next year. The wastewater plant in Sealy is in need of repair and will soon be getting an upgrade. County officials say the pond that is currently being used had a leak. Crews are working to fix the issue and put a backup pond in place. The county and the water district are paying for the $700,000 project with the help of state grants. Officials say residents will not have to pay more than what they already do for water services.
In a small community like this, it helps a lot the county secure funds, so they don't have to pay for those improvements, and by default, the residents will not pay for those improvements.
Don't go away. Coming up, we'll tell you what a black bear did that caused a zoo to open late. Stay with us right here on 13 on Your Side.
Looking over the next 7 days, hey, you know what? Not bad. Clear skies will remain. So great pool weather. Wednesday and Thursday, we'll start to see the extra bit of clouds move their way through, and the humidity will make a return. Yes, it will get a little more sticky, also a little more warm at night. Now, I'll be here tomorrow morning, but I'm going to have tomorrow off. So if I don't see you again, have yourself a good weekend. Let's send it over to Course.
In Arkansas, this small black bear wandered into a zoo from a service road at about 5:30 in the morning. A tiger roared at the bear, which then ran up a tree, catching the attention of more tigers and curious wolves. The staff corralled the predators and delayed the zoo's opening. State Fish and Game crews assisted as zookeepers tried to lure the bear down with food. It finally ventured down and ran off back into the wild. No one was hurt, and the zoo opened later in the day. Thanks for watching 13 on Your Side. I appreciate you for spending part of your evening with me. I'm Course Nylander. Have a wonderful rest of your day.